Om Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Shant Shant Shanti Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Hari Om. Let's do a sankalp. Okay. So, last class, we are done with the Upasana Yoga. We looked at the physical aspect, that is the Kayika Amsha of our personality, how to discipline that. Then we saw how to discipline the verbal aspect of our personality, the Vachika Amsha. Remember, Anudvega Karam Vakyam, Satyam, Priyam, Hitam. Those four are the checkpoints before we speak anything. Anudvega Karam Vakyam, Satyam, Priyam, and Hitam. And then we looked into the Manasa Amsha, how to discipline the mental personality. And there we saw that we can use 4 kinds of meditation techniques. So we can start with relaxation meditation. And a relaxed mind is needed for being able to concentrate, focus on something. So after we learn to relax the mind, we move to concentration meditation. And then the 2 most important meditations, the expansion meditation, where we look at the Vishwarupa Ishvara. And then finally the transformation meditation, where we take the different values one by one, Daivi Sampat as well as Asuri Sampat. And we work on ourselves. We try and bring about that transformation in ourselves. And then we saw this really important concept. I have forgotten to send this picture of that, Ratha Kalpana. Right? Okay. So now that we know how to discipline the 3 personalities, there is one more aspect to be considered. So not only should these 3 personalities be healthy, that is the body, speech, and mind. Not only should they be individually healthy, but the most important thing is that they should function in integration, or they should function in coordination. So not only is conditioning important, but their integration is also equally important. Teamwork is important, right? So a team in which individuals are wonderful, okay, but there is no coordination between them, that team fails. So we have got to have teamwork, because our life is a teamwork undertaken by body, speech, and mind. So they should not function at cross purposes. That is very important. Means they should not have conflict with each other. They should function in synchrony, in harmony. In fact, every time we lie, we are breaking the coordination by creating a division between speech and mind. Mind knows the truth, but the tongue is not speaking that. So there is a conflict that we are creating between the knower and the doer. That knower-doer conflict leads to a lot of psychological and emotional problems. So this teamwork of the three personalities, the coordination of a healthy Kaika Amsha, Vachika Amsha, and Manasa Amsha is very important. And it is nothing but Arjavam. We have been talking about Arjavam, right? Before also we've spoken about it. So individual health of Kaika, Vachika, and Manasa Amsha and their teamwork all has to be taken care of. This is the stream prescribed by the Shastras as Upasana Yoga, otherwise called Samadhi Yoga, otherwise called Ashtanga Yoga also. So this is Upasana Yoga. Now, we've seen Karma Yoga in detail and we have seen Upasana Yoga also. Now, after the practice of Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga for a length of time, there is going to be a lot of positive transformation in all of us. And this is definite, okay? It is definitely there is going to be a lot of positive transformation. We can even check that कि positive transformation आया है कि नहीं आया है. So Swami Paramarthananda ji, he gives a guide to check our progress. He says that if these sadhanas are done well, then there will be a notable F.I.R. reduction in us. No, F.I.R. So F.I.R. याद रखने में भी easy है. So what is F.I.R.? Can you see the slide? Yeah. So F.I.R. F means the frequency of reacting to unfavorable situations. Frequency of emotional disturbances. Matlab, are you reacting every time an unfavorable situation arises? Say if someone shouts at you, do you shout back even louder every time? Are you still reacting impulsively? Or most of the time you are able to reason it out? Most of the time you are responding to the situation. Even if it is an unfavorable situation, you are responding to it after giving a good thought to that situation. You are using your Viveka Buddhi and you are not reacting. So F means frequency. So what is the frequency of reacting to unfavorable situations? मतलब कितने बार हम रिएक्ट कर लेते हैं, कितने बार हम शाउट कर रहे हैं, कितने बार हम गुस्से के सामने गुस्सा कर रहे हैं. So has that frequency reduced or not? That is one check. So that is the F of the F.I.R. Did you understand what it means? Frequency, how often it is happening. So pehle shayad it was happening maybe every day, many times a day. And now it should have come down after a little practice, maybe, you know, a few times in a week or a few times in a month. So wo frequency kam hona chahiye. Then I is the intensity of the reaction. So intensity of reaction towards unfavorable situations, towards emotional disturbances. So how intense is your reaction? Do you still break things? Do you still bang heads? Do you shout, scream? Do you throw things? Or has the intensity of your reaction diluted? So your anger, depression, panic, it has become milder than it used to be. That is another check. The first check is frequency kam hua hai ki nahi. The second check is intensity kam hua hai ki nahi. And the third check is recovery period taken to come back from the effect of unfavorable situations. Means the time taken to recover from your emotional disturbances. So, do you still hold your anger or bitterness or sorrow for months together? Or do you just recover from it sooner? Like पहले महीनों तक गुस्सा रहता था, महीनों तक एक दूसरे से बात नहीं करते थे, महीनों तक sorrow रहता था, depression रहता था, but now you are able to recover from it much faster. Maybe in a week, maybe in a few days or a few hours or instantly. So trying to resolve issues before going to bed. So this F.I.R reduction, it is a great way to check our progress. So we can keep this in our mind कि F.I.R reduction हुआ है कि नहीं है. So every time keep checking it. It's a fantastic way to check our progress. So F is the frequency of our reaction, I is the intensity, and R is the recovery period, how much time we have taken to come back to normal. And this is a way to check our progress in Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga. Okay? And yes, now that we have seen Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga, you need to know that there is no chronology between Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga. Okay? Maybe at a particular stage, you may be focusing more on one and little less on the other, or more on the other one. There is no chronological order, but both are equally important. Karma Yoga as well as Upasana Yoga. But Shastras do say that in Grihastha ashram, Karma Yoga, it should be dominant. It should be your predominant yoga. Your predominant sadhana should be Karma Yoga when you are in Grihastha ashram. And Upasana Yoga can become a secondary sadhana. And as you move towards Vanaprastha, from Grihastha, as you move towards Vanaprastha, then Upasana Yoga should become the dominant sadhana, and Karma Yoga can be a secondary practice. So, this Upasana Yoga, it is the second course of discipline. And again, as I had mentioned before also, we should remember that traditionally we say that there are only two steps to moksha, Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. So whether it is Upasana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, any other Raja Yoga, Kriya Yoga, they are all the preparatory sadhanas, they are considered a part of Karma Yoga only. Okay? So as I had mentioned earlier, by doing Karma Yoga, most of our emotional problems get diluted. As the Raga and Dvesha, they get neutralized. As we are only doing Nishkam Karma with Ishwara Arpana and Prasada Buddhi. So Karma Yoga gives Chitta Shuddhi and Upasana Yoga gives Chitta Ekagrata. And once we have gone through the first and the second Karma Yoga and the Upasana Yoga, we are hopefully qualified and prepared for the third and the most important course of discipline, namely Jnana Yoga. So here is where the Vedantic text, Tattva Bodha, which is the reference text, in the beginning of the class also we said, right? It is the reference text that we are going to use for our course. So here is where Tattva Bodha gives us a checkpoint to check if we are actually ready for entering Jnana Yoga or not. So far we have not entered Tattva Bodha only. Because before we start with Tattva Bodha, it was important to gain a thorough understanding of the topics that we have studied so far in our course. In fact, the Tattva Bodha textbook, it assumes that the student of Tattva Bodha already knows all the topics that we've covered so far. They are all taken for granted in this particular text. So Tattva Bodha implicitly contains all the topics that we have studied so far, but not explicitly, not in detail. Hence, it was important for us to discuss them here. So what have we seen so far? We are like more than 50% through with our course. So we've seen all these things. We've seen the Purusharthas, so Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha in detail. Then we have seen the 6 layers of Shastra, that is Shruti, Sutra, Smriti, Puranas, Itihasa, and Bhashyam. Then we have seen the infrastructure, the scriptural infrastructure in the form of Varnashram Vyavastha. Then we have seen understanding God. Then Samanya Dharma and Vishesha Dharma. That is the Yamaniyama and the Pancha Mahayagnas. And after that, we have seen Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga. So all this background study, that was necessary. It was necessary before we enter Tattva Bodha. So now it is time to introduce Tattva Bodha. So Tattva Bodha is a text which primarily focuses on Jnana Yoga, the spiritual discipline, Jnana Yoga. We know that there are 3 spiritual disciplines: Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, and Jnana Yoga, of which we have seen Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga. So of these 3 forms of spiritual discipline, the Tattva Bodha book, the Tattva Bodha text, it concentrates only on Jnana Yoga part of the discipline. In other words, it concentrates only on self-inquiry. Unlike Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a complete and comprehensive textbook. It deals with Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, Jnana Yoga, everything. Therefore, it is a complete text. Whereas Tattva Bodha does not deal with Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga at all. It focuses on Jnana Yoga. In spite of this, it is a very, very important text because it very systematically presents a comprehensive method of self-inquiry, step by step, how to do the actual process of self-inquiry. So doing self-inquiry in a systematic and comprehensive manner. And that leads to self-knowledge or self-discovery. Therefore, self-inquiry leading to self-discovery, that is the subject matter of Tattva Bodha. And Tattva Bodha, it not only gives a method of self-inquiry, but it also introduces all the technical terms which are required for conducting the self-inquiry. Matlab, aage jaake bhi, whatever text we pursue, whatever text we study, we need to know certain technical terms. And Tattva Bodha offers those knowledge to those technical terms. So every science, it has its own set of technical words, technical terms, right? We can call them jargon. So just as there are technical terms, technical words in medicine or law, in dance, music, even in sports, right? Like for example, cricket में silly point होता है ना, तो silly मालूम है अपने को क्या है, point भी मालूम है, but silly point, it has no connection to what is silly and what is point, right? So it's a cricket jargon. It's a technical word for cricket. Same way, like we know what love all means in English. But love all in tennis is totally different, right? That's a tennis jargon. So we require to, we need to know the technical terms for any science, any study, including self-inquiry. And Tattva Bodha, it gives all these technical terms very systematic. So each one is beautifully defined also. So Tattva Bodha, it serves two purposes. Firstly, it gives a proper method for self-inquiry, which leads to self-knowledge. And secondly, it introduces technical terms or terminology of Vedanta. Okay. Now, Tattva Bodha as a text, it begins with the topic of Sadhana Chatushtthayam. Sadhana Chatushtthayam. Very important. Sadhana Chatushtthayam means they are the fourfold qualifications that a seeker has to have in order to enter Jnana Yoga. That is why we are taking it right now, before taking the topic of Jnana Yoga. So, like before entering a master's degree course, we need to have a bachelor's degree. And if we enter without the required qualification, then we may most probably not succeed in assimilating that knowledge. So, in short, without appropriate qualification, we cannot enter into any field. And that is true for self-inquiry also. So before entering Jnana Yoga, Shastra expects us to be Sadhana Chatushtthaya Sampanna. Only then we will be able to benefit from the sadhana of Jnana Yoga. So ideally, after practicing Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga for a length of time, we can check whether we have these qualifications or not. Whether we are adhikari, whether we are fit enough to enter Jnana Yoga or not. So that is why the Sadhana Chatushtthaya is considered a very important topic. So the fourfold qualifications called the Sadhana Chatushtthayam, they are, first is Viveka. Viveka means discrimination, we've seen. Then Vairagya, dispassion. Then the third one, it is not a single thing, it is a combination of 6 values. So it is called Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti. 6-fold discipline, starting with Shama. And the last one is Mumukshutvam. So Viveka, Vairagya, Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti, and Mumukshutvam. These 4 together, they are the Sadhana Chatushtthayam. So now let us look at each one in detail. So sabse pehle Viveka, discrimination. So we've seen Viveka before also many times. Now here, what is the context in which we are going to use our Viveka Buddhi? So here, Vivek or discrimination, it is the definition given by Tattva Bodha is Nitya Anitya Vastu Vivekaha. So Viveka, the definition is given as Nitya Anitya Vastu Vivekaha. So discrimination between Nitya means between what is permanent and Anitya, what is ephemeral or what is impermanent. That Viveka is required. That Viveka is the qualification. So, as we've seen, Viveka means discriminative knowledge. Okay, not just knowledge, but differentiating knowledge. Knowing the difference between 2 important things into which the entire universe is classified or divided. Those 2 things are Nitya Vastu and Anitya Vastu. Vastu means a thing or an entity. And Nitya Vastu means eternal entity, which is Atma or Brahman, the absolute reality. And Anitya Vastu. Anitya Vastu means all the impermanent things. In fact, everything in this creation and every being in this creation, they will all come under Anitya Vastu only. Therefore, Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka means the capacity to differentiate between what is eternal and what is ephemeral, what is permanent and what is impermanent. That capacity to all the time differentiate between what is the screen and what are the projections. That capacity of differentiation, that is called Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka. So we should have the ability to register this difference in our minds clearly at all times. And we should keep that awareness of this difference throughout our waking hours. Therefore, Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka means having the right judgment, right understanding between what is permanent and what is impermanent. This is considered the first and the foremost qualification. So let us understand it a bit better. So if we look at the universe, we discover one fact, that the whole world or the whole creation, it exists within a time-space frame. It has a limitation of time as well as space. जो चीज इधर है वो उधर नहीं है. It is space-wise limited. And time-wise also, everything in this universe, it exists within a field of time and space. Right? So no object in this creation is beyond time. No object in this creation is beyond space. Therefore, everything is bound by time. That means that every object in this universe, it is subject to birth and consequently subject to death also. And as we do not experience anything beyond time, we can say that the whole creation is subject to time. And hence it is not eternal. जो चीज आज है कल नहीं है या आज है yesterday नहीं थी, those things, they are not eternal. They are not nitya vastu. So impermanence, perishability, that is the intrinsic nature of the entire creation. Whether it is things or beings or situations or relationships, anything in this creation you take, nothing is permanent. Okay? So we know that the whole world is perishable. That means anything in this world is not capable of giving me permanent security or permanent support. Right? Hence, I can or I should never depend on anything or anybody in this world, because it will only bring disappointment. Because everything, every being, every situation itself is of a perishable nature. It is anitya vastu. And any anitya vastu, it can never give us nitya security, nitya support, nitya happiness, right? They are all anitya vastus. Okay. So the world is anitya, sure. But because it is anitya, that does not mean that the world is useless. Okay. That does not mean that I should completely reject the world. I should completely reject everyone and everything in this world and, just give up on everything. No. So the impermanent things of this creation also, that means the entire universe, are also useful. They are also very important because they are capable of giving us education. They are capable of giving us an opportunity to evolve, an opportunity to reach our Purushartha. Because without this field, without this entire world, without this workspace, we cannot operate, right? So it is very, very important. It gives us opportunity. It gives us knowledge. It gives us entertainment. So for all these things, we can depend on the world. Yes, we can learn from the world. We can get entertained by the world. We can evolve. We can use the opportunities. Very good. But we cannot depend on the world for lasting security. Yes, Deepak ji?
मैम,
हाँ,
ये जो तत्व है, गैलेक्सी है,
हाँ,
ये नित्य है कि अनित्य है?
अनित्य है. बिकॉज ये भी कभी तो creation, जैसे even science like says that, right, that it all came out after the Big Bang. Before the Big Bang, it was not there. So that means, yes, even though millions of years back it came, but it is still subject to time, right? Although a long time, but it is still subject to time. और जब प्रलय होगा, तब it will all resolve back into the Brahman. So it is again not eternal. It has an end.
Okay.
Right? So we can depend on the world for all these other things, but not for lasting security or support. Swamiji always gives this example of a cardboard chair. Okay, he says that a beautifully designed chair made out of cardboard. It is very good to look at. It has aesthetic value, but it does not have a functional value. You can look at it like a model. Okay, अगर 2 scale model किसी घर का बनाया है, तुम देख सकते हो उसे. Very good, but you cannot live in it, right? You cannot take support on it. You cannot lean on it. We need not destroy it. Okay, we need not destroy that model. We need not destroy the cardboard chair. We need not completely reject it. All we need to do is, we just need to know, we just need to have this jnanam that acha hai, cardboard chair is good enough, but I cannot take support on it. And still, after knowing all this, if I take support on it, to kya hoga? If I try to sit on a cardboard chair, we'll surely be hurt, right? And we'll be disappointed. Therefore, the first wisdom that we need to have is that the whole world is like a cardboard chair. Our achievements, our positions, our possessions, our family, friends, and finally even our body, this body, mind, sense complex. Everything is temporary and undependable like the cardboard chair. So don't lean on it. Don't take support on it. Don't depend on any anitya vastu, any impermanent thing or being or situation for permanent security or happiness or peace. So use the anitya vastu, no problem. Use it for whatever you have to, but don't depend on it. Right? So after this understanding, if we think that, okay, fine, I get it. I will not lean on the cardboard chair. Okay, I will not lean on any anitya vastu. Sure. But I still do need support and security in my life. No? So, like, we are limited beings. We really need to depend on somebody or something or some relationships. Then whom should we depend on? So obviously the answer is that we should depend on something that is permanent, something that is eternal, something that is a Nitya Vastu. And what is this Nitya Vastu? So this Nitya Vastu is called Brahman in Vedantic language. The Jagad Adhishthanam Ishvara that we studied in the three layers of understanding of Ishvara. The Jagat Adhishthanam Ishvara, the screen on which the projections are made. So that Nitya Vastu is called Brahman in Vedantic language, and that same Nitya Vastu is called Ishvara or God in Puranic or Dharmic language. Ishvara with the 5 attributes: Sarvagnya, Sarvavyapi, Sarvashaktiman, and Nimitta Upadana Karanam. The 5 attributes of Ishvara. So that is the Nitya Vastu. So therefore, the first lesson is that the whole universe, including my body, mind, sense complex, my family, my possessions, my achievements, the whole universe is anitya. Okay, it can give us entertainment, it can give us education, it can give us opportunity, but it is incapable of giving permanent security and support. That is where all of us fail. That is where all of our problems begin there. Because we depend on anitya vastu and we seek nityatvam out of it. They are all impermanent. That is their intrinsic nature. If we are going to touch fire, we are going to feel hot because it is its intrinsic nature. We can't expect coolness out of fire. In the same way, we can't expect permanent security, permanent happiness out of any anitya vastu. For that, we have to depend on the nitya vastu. And this understanding is called nitya anitya vastu viveka. So we need to keep checking that do we have this qualification already? So are we able to discriminate between permanent and temporary? Agar nahi hai to bhi no problem. We just have to cultivate a habit of seeing impermanence in things, impermanence in emotions, in people, in everything that we are attached to our achievements, to our own body. We just have to cultivate that habit. Just say, if we go for a movie, we can cultivate that habit of in between, just become aware that, oh, this is the screen and things are being projected on it. Images are being projected on it. In the same way, we have to form this habit that everything, even if, okay, I am really, really sad today. Just take a pause, step back, become a sakshi to yourself, become a witness to yourself, and then start seeing that, oh, these emotions are also impermanent. These emotions are anitya vastu. Any happy, sad situation and any achievements also, any possessions also. Just become aware every time. Keep on reminding yourself that this is anitya vastu. It is a habit that we have to form. And especially for those things that we have a lot of raga towards. That, oh, this is, I am attached to it. Yes, but it is an anitya vastu. Keep reminding yourself. And with little practice, this viveka, it will start coming spontaneously. We will be able to firstly identify the anitya vastu, and then eventually we'll be able to cognitively dismiss the anitya vastu also. ठीक है, It's not a big deal. This is the first qualification. Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka. And this qualification itself, it leads us to the second qualification. The second qualification is Vairagya. So Vivek, the definition was Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka, and Vairagya, the definition is Iha means here, Iha amutrartha phala bhoga viragaha, or Iha swarga bhogeshu ichha rahityam. So dispassion towards the enjoyment of fruits of action here and hereafter. I'll explain that. So Iha means here, Swarga Bhogeshu means the phala of Swarga or Brahmaloka or anything like that. Ichha Rahityam, dispassion towards that. That is called Vairagya. This is the second qualification. So this Vairagyam, it means an attitude of detachment. We should have detachment or dispassion with regard to every anitya vastu, every impermanent, ephemeral, temporary thing or being or situations, anything, every anitya vastu we need to be detached from them. Because all anitya vastu in this world that a person encounters, what are they? They are actually just the result of his past karmas. They are just karma phalas. See, the jiva needs to go through different pleasant and painful experiences as his karma phala. And only for this particular reason, the world has come into existence. The field has come into existence for us to operate, for us to experience our karma phalas. And the jiva, so everything like our body, our family, friends, our house, possessions, our profession, they give us varieties of happy and unhappy experiences. And once our karma phala of experiencing that particular anitya vastu is over, then that thing will disappear from our life, or we will disappear. Either that thing will disappear or we will disappear. Hence, what sense does it make to get attached to the courier boy or the courier girl, hoping that that courier person will give us psychological support, emotional support? They are just karma phalas. Everything, our house, our possessions, our status, our family, they are just karma phalas. They are delivery people. They are delivery courier boys and girls. So it doesn't make sense to get attached to them. They are here just to deliver our package of pleasant and unpleasant experiences. And once the goods are delivered, he or she will go. The courier person will go. Similarly, these things, these beings, these situations in our lives, they will disappear once they have delivered their package of pleasant and painful experiences. Hence, it is really foolish to be passionate about them or to have binding attachment towards them. Today, we may have a fancy car. Tomorrow, we might not. Today, we may have a comfortable house. Tomorrow, for some reason, we may become homeless, right? If we listen to stories of tsunami victims or flood victims, we come to know that how really wealthy people are homeless in a matter of minutes, right? So everything that we get attached to, that we feel raga towards, keep on reminding yourself, this is a cognitive exercise. You don't need to leave anything. You don't need to leave and go to the forest or in the cave or anything. It's a cognitive exercise. Keep on reminding yourself that, oh, this is a karma phala. Once this karma phala will give me that share of happiness or that share of sadness, it is going to go. So this situation, this person is like a courier boy. He or she or the situation will go away once the package is delivered. So Krishna also very beautifully, it's one of the most important verses of Bhagavad Gita. From this verse, actually, the Bhagavad Gita really starts. So he says, Ashocyanan vashochastvam prajnavadamscha bhashase gatasuna gatasumscha nanushocanti panditaha. So he so beautifully uses these words, gatasun agatasumscha nanushocanti panditaha. So gatasun agatasum. So means, so here he's talking about people in our lives. So people in our lives, either they are already gone or they are yet to go. They are like in a queue to go. So Krishna very bluntly implies that all of us are in a queue to go. Even a newborn baby. If not tomorrow, then day after tomorrow or after a few years. But everyone is just in a queue to go. Krishna doesn't use, he uses the word gatasun, agatasun. So means somebody who's, everybody in this world, either they are already gone or they are yet to go. He doesn't say somebody who is dead or alive. He doesn't use those kind of words. He doesn't use the word alive for the people who are here. The people who are here also, he says, they are in a queue to go only. Because everything is so impermanent. So he says, no point being attached to them. They are just cardboard chairs. You will fall flat if you get attached and try to find psychological support on them. The very important words, gatasun, agatasumscha. So similarly, like here he talks about people. People, either they are gone or they are yet to go. Similarly, with situations also. No good or bad situation, they are permanent. It ends. All the situations, they come to an end. I mean, good situations, it ends. Like we can't be on a vacation in Hawaii or somewhere forever, right? It all ends. It ends for Devtas also. Then what to talk of us? Devtas also, we'll study further, that they cannot be in Swargaloka or Brahmaloka and all that forever, permanently. Devtas can only be there on that particular post or in that particular position as long as their punya balance is sufficient. After their punya balance is exhausted, even they are pushed down to this Martyaloka, the land of mortals, this samsara. That is their plight also if they don't get moksha over there, if they don't get self-knowledge over there. So the same thing, it's nothing. It's like somebody is an Ambani, somebody is a beggar. In the same way, somebody is a Devta. So once the punya is exhausted, then they will be pushed out. Then what to talk of people? And then there are some people who are not only attached to this Janma world, but they have a very strong attachment to the life which is going to be after death also. So they do a lot of charity, a lot of tapas, a lot of dharma in this birth, only and only to get Swargaloka or to get great phalams in the next life. So they get obsessively attached to the result of their dharmic activities. But whether it is of this birth or the next birth, all experiences here and later. So that is why they use the word iha amutra. So here and later, all experiences are impermanent. They are going to end. Is there any eternal planet? No. No, Hitarthji. Everything is subject to get perished. Yeah. So even any kind of experience, it is going to come to an end, whether it is of this birth or the next birth. So one should clearly feed this understanding. Right now, it might sound like a lot of talking, but this understanding is actually the basis of freedom, the basis of liberation. That understand the difference between what is permanent and what is impermanent, and get detached towards the impermanent things. Don't keep on holding on to the cardboard chairs. So one should feed this understanding very clearly in one's mind and develop more and more detachment. This is a cognitive exercise which you have to keep doing through practice, and it will come through practice only. And this is especially applicable to pleasurable experiences, right? Since, oh, will this not make us sad? In fact, this will give us freedom from sadness. Because you start looking at everything as a delivery person. And you're never emotionally attached. I mean, a delivery person is never capable of making you happy or sad, right? It is just there to deliver the package. So you don't depend on the delivery person for giving you, अच्छा उसने ऐसे नहीं किया, अच्छा उसने ऐसा package नहीं दिया. You start seeing everything with that kind of dispassion or detachment that you have towards a delivery person. And what do you draw happiness from? Okay. So this is basically the climax of our story. But let me tell you, you don't draw happiness from anything. Happiness is your intrinsic nature. We just keep feeling that these external things are giving us happiness because momentarily, when we get that object or being of our liking, momentarily our mind calms down. It becomes so calm. And like clear water in the lake, if the water is still, you can see through. Same way, when the mind becomes calm, your true nature reflects and comes out. So that happiness that you derive is not from the things or beings or people. It is your true nature. It is when your mind calms down like that, you are one with your true nature. Otherwise, there are impurities, disturbances, conflicts. That is basically covering up your true nature. Okay. So we need to get detached, this detachment, especially from pleasurable experiences. Because detachment from pain to उसके लिए कुछ मेहनत करने का जरूरत ही नहीं है ना. Detachment from pain happens naturally only. We will never get attached to disease or poverty. We get attached only to good things. So strongly attached that we cannot bear their absence. So the scriptures need not talk about painful experiences in the context of attachment, but about present pleasures that are given in this world and the future pleasures which can be given in the other worlds, we have to develop detachment or dispassion towards them. And Vedanta says that if we are spiritual seekers, if we want liberation, moksha, freedom from all these pains, we want freedom from this samsara, then we don't have a choice but to develop this dispassion, Vairagya. Vairagya is called Viraga. Viraga. So Viraga, Raga means attachment, Viraga. So detachment from all types of pleasures of the world, which are just karma phalas only. They are just karma phalas. And again, this does not mean that we completely shun the world and everything that is in the world and we go in a cave. Ke, हाँ, anyway, सब चीज तो impermanent है. क्या मतलब है इधर रह के? No, nothing like that. It is not necessary only. The process of detachment has to be a cognitive process. Cognitive means at the thought level, at the understanding level. We need not announce to the world, we need not announce to our children, our spouse that, look, I am completely detached from you, okay? Nor should you behave that way in the world. Do your nitya karmas, do whatever are your obligatory duties, do everything. Live in this. We can live in this world as we are living, but the whole cognitive process will be of detachment. So our behavior should in no way reflect that I am detached. Our love, our care, our expression, it should not reduce at all. But it should be Purva Rukameva Bandhanat Mokshya. This is a beautiful explanation which is given in Mahamrityunjay mantra. All of us know the Mahamrityunjay mantra. Okay, 1 second. Hitarthji is asking, is this knowledge of moksha available in all planets? Or is it available only on Prithvi Loka? So I don't know about the other planets, but yes, in the higher lokas, yes. Like Brahma Loka, Swarga Loka, all those places, yes. There are opportunities where you can get the same self-knowledge which we are getting here. So it is the knowledge is same. There is no difference. But what people do is बहुत ज़्यादा मेहनत, in the sense, do a lot of dharma, get a lot of punya in order to, with the sankalpa of reaching Swarga or whatever, Brahmaloka or whatever. वहां जाके भी यही करना है. Indra also had to do this only. He had to gain self-knowledge because that is the only way to moksha. Okay. So yes, I was talking about Mahamrityunjay mantra. All of us know the Mahamrityunjay mantra. Om Triambakayajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat. So this line, Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiyamamritaat. So this line, Urvarukamiva Bandhanat. So Urvarukam Iva. Urvarukam means like a melon. So you know how melons grow? They grow on creepers. So when they are growing also, they are on the ground only. They are on the ground only. They are attached to the creeper, जिसमें से वो grow होते हैं. And once it is completely ripe and mature, what happens? The melon, it gets detached from the creeper. मतलब वो वहीं पे रहता है. जब ग्रो हो रहा था तब जिधर था, जैसे था वैसे ही था. There is no way that one even notices that the melon is no more attached to the creeper. Understood? Now, once it is matured, once it is ripe, it gets detached from the creeper. But it looks the same. There is no way we can figure out. If we go there and we pick up the melon, we come to know that it is detached from the creeper. नहीं तो जैसे attached में दिखता था वैसे ही दिखता है detached होने के बाद भी. In the same way, after having understood that the world cannot be relied upon for security and support, gradually withdrawing from this world or stopping to lean on the world for security and support, that is called dispassion. Bandhanat mokshiya, like the melon. So that is what we are asking for, that like the melon, urva rukameva, bandhanat mokshiya, you free me from the bondage like the melon. कि melon detach हो गया और किसी को पता भी नहीं चला. वैसे ही we can live in this world. We can enjoy the anitya vastus of the world, no problem. We are not running away from the world. We are not rejecting the world. But psychologically, when we need support, when we need security, instead of leaning on the world, I lean on Ishvara or I lean on Brahman. I lean on my true nature, my true self. I need not lean on any anitya vastu. And this dispassion, this detachment, it comes only out of discrimination between nitya and anitya vastu. So Vairagya is born out of Viveka only. Understood? So the first qualification is necessary to gain the second qualification. So Swamiji says that if there is a cardboard chair and a teakwood chair, use one for decoration and the other one for sitting. So always have this viveka कि किसको decoration के लिए use करना है, किसको dependence के लिए use करना है. Use the world and use God appropriately. That is viveka and dispassion. And Srinivasan ji, my teacher, he says that the best method to gain Vairagya, that is to neutralize the raga, Viraga. So to neutralize our binding likes and gain dispassion is by practicing dosha darshanam. We have spoken about dosha darshanam many times, no? So practice dosha darshanam towards all our binding ragas, to look at the doshas in whatever things that are binding you. For example, maybe we may have raga for surfing the net or watching the TV or news all the time. So I just have to do dosha darshanam, means list down all the cons, all the negative effects of what it could do. So firstly, it could waste a lot of productive time. It could make you feel that you have done a lot when eventually you've done nothing. It disturbs your mind. And also they have this strategy, right, to manipulate your mind into buying things, into, okay, Deepak ji, right. So we are just ending here. So basically every time mind gets tempted to indulge, mentally go through it, do dosha darshanam. And slowly this dispassion will start coming. All right. We are 5 minutes beyond time. Sorry. We'll end here. We looked at two of the qualifications of the Sadhana Chatushtthayam, Viveka and Vairagya. We'll do the next two in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you, everyone. So yes, this part will have a lot of talking, but it is very important. Lot of talking without stories, lot of talking without examples, but very, very important. So yes.